Hey, all you fanboys and fangirls. This is Derek from the Geekdom Fancast. This is episode 206. We are coming to you with part 2 of our Lumpia universe coverage. I have a very wonderful special guy with us right now, Mr. Gerald Pilare, artist extraordinaire. How are you?
I am doing awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me on, man.
Again. So let's do this again, Gerald. So everyone, let's laugh at the fact that Derek doesn't know how to hit record buttons properly. So Gerald thankfully is nice enough to hang out and make sure we do this proper because
we're
I'm an
we're
idiot.
gonna get it right for the
Yes, we're gonna
fans,
get
for the
this right.
viewers. Yes, you deserve it.
I want to know this is Albert's fault. No one knows who. No one's gonna know who Albert is probably that's listening to this, except for me, like 5 people. But Albert, this is your fault because you wouldn't have let this happen. All right. We're gonna get done losing our audience already because they have no idea what we're talking about. Gerald, the Lumpia with a Vengeance movie is a wonderful superhero named Kuya who throws Lumpia as a weapon to fight crime. And it's such a fun movie that's like you can tell there's so much comic book superhero elements to it and things.
Yes,
What is your first memory of falling in love with pulp culture, like a movie, a TV show, a cartoon, something like that?
I gotta say it takes me back to way back to my childhood, and this is when I was
Wait,
like,
what are you, 80? How far back are
I
we
know,
going?
I know, right?
He's
I
like,
do have, I
way.
do have the, I do
Okay.
have some white hair.
All right.
Yeah, but like 3.5, 4 years old, I was visiting the Philippines for the first time,
Okay.
and my cousins were luckily the same age as me, because sometimes you have a lot of older cousins that are don't want to spend time with you because they're doing other things, but luckily like we're all in about the same age group, right? And they kept talking about Voltage 5, and I was like, what's Voltage 5, right? And so I sit down in the living room with them, and all of a sudden, like, I see this group of 5 people, and they get in. And it's so awesome because it's my first. Honestly, I think it's my first experience of anime,
Mhm.
and in America, you're used to Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, so you're used to like these heroes fighting crime physically hand to hand. But in this giant robot anime, they suit up to battle the bad guy, but they go down the tubes, and then they ride this little module, and then they get into the machine,
Yeah.
and then these machines later form a giant robot. And man, when they start to
With a big
transform,
sword.
yeah, right, or cannon, or
Yeah.
or rocket punch, or it blew my mind, and I was like, wow, this is freaking cool, and it took a while after I got back from the Philippines to like see something like that again. I think it was like Translor Z or Mazinger Z.
Ooh, Transformers Z.
Yeah,
Yes, now we're
right.
going back. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly. And so I was like, oh, there's a giant robot, And then after that, I think it was like either Grandizer or Guy King. But yeah, it took a while to see them on this side of the Pacific. And I got so used to like watching that when I was over there in PI, that like everything else was like just waiting to see something like that again.
Mhm.
And when those cartoons finally made it on this side, I was like, yes, And it also it does still influence me to this day because I love mecha, I love machines, I love the interaction with humans and robots, and them flying around, and then of course when you got Star Wars, it's like the combination of everything. You got aliens, robots, you got flying machines, and a far off galaxy. So
So are you a big C3PO fan?
um more R2D2, of course.
Oh,
Back
really?
in the day,
Okay.
it's all
All
about
righty.
R2.
The little
Yeah,
badass.
the little, especially during Empire Strikes Back, when him and Yoda are fighting against each other in the
Oh,
beginning.
right.
Yeah, like mine. That was like, oh,
He's
this is too
beating him
much.
with his cane.
Yeah, because of that little snack bar that Luke left out.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I would say like that was my biggest like epiphany moment when it came to like being attracted to pop culture. It was actually all the way in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could see that making sense of like, so did you read a lot of comic books, or you like, so you were reading manga and stuff?
No, because back in the day, manga wasn't a thing yet.
Oh, okay.
But I did pick up my brother's comic books, and it wasn't like, we treated them with reverence and stuff. We treated them because we loved Spider-Man, and we loved I think he had X-Men issue. Um, he actually had a issue of Shogun Warriors too, so that
Oh,
was kind of interesting. Um, but you flip through them because you just love seeing the artwork. You love like what Peter Parker was getting into. And then like during the 80s and 90s, it was like, I got so um inspired by the artists that were doing the books. So that was another moment for me. Yeah.
do you have any childhood heroes?
Oh man. As far as like art goes,
Yeah, like artists,
yeah.
like people that were really like, because so there's so many artists that like grasp onto certain people's work, and that's what fuels them.
Yeah. I would say it started with Todd McFarlane. I was hanging out at my best friend's house, and he showed me the new Spider-Man books, and I was like, "What is this?" Because nobody drew like Todd back then.
No, definitely
He
not.
was really pushing it. Even though my best friend's favorite artist was Arthur Adams, and I
Yes, I
thought,
love Arthur Adams.
yeah,
I saw him
yeah,
at
and
SCCC this last one, and that we had. And, I hadn't seen him in
he's
probably like 20 years, and I was so happy to see him.
and his quality of work has never like diminished. He's always like pushing the details, and I have to really respect and admire his consistency. He never left. He's always been at the drawing board, knocking it out. So workmanlike, but man, he's got his thing down like so good.
He's got such a signature look too. It's like one of those
Yeah,
things that you saw as, it's like you can look to for the signature to make sure it's Arthur Adams, but you see yourself, you're like, I know that's Arthur Adams.
yeah, exactly. Like there's been a few artists that emulated Arthur Adams maybe earlier in their career, and then it started to deviate a little bit.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, Art Adams was his favorite, and then he showed me Spider-Man, like all the McFarlane run, and I was like, damn, this guy is how is he distorting that? Like it was like physically impossible for your anatomy to contort that way, but the level of detail that McFarlane did was crazy. And then the flip side of that was seeing the guys that were in Homage Studios, which was like Jim Lee, Will Portacio, Inker Scott Williams, Mark Silvestri, and the
Bunch
work
of
that,
hacks. No.
yeah, right, all those
I bet you.
guys,
I bet you
yeah.
they're not even working today. I bet they're failures.
I know, like where have they been? What have you done lately?
Yeah.
Jim Lee. But man, when I saw Extinction Agenda,
Oh yes, that was a
yeah,
great one.
it's a
I love
great,
that one.
and the way that they drew, let alone the characters, but like that was the era of them drawing vests and pockets and pouches and belts and straps.
And not like the
Everybody,
Rob Liefeld way where it's ridiculous.
yeah. And so when I saw Jim and Will's do it, and of course Mark's I love about Mark Silvestri's work was like the looseness with the line. It was like he didn't think about it too hard. It was like shoom shoom, there's a belt, and that's all you need. And then you get like to the technical skill of Jim Lee's stuff, and you're like, holy cow, this kind of looks like anime slash manga, but in an American comic book. Especially when Extinction Agenda came out, because those weird um cycles that the soldiers were riding on that had
Mm-hmm.
legs. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, that's like a anime manga thing. So I was like really blown away by that. And I was like, if they can draw that, then maybe I can draw that. So
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
now we know what's fueling you. So where did you just start doodling on your own, or did you start taking art classes or something, or how did you get going?
Yeah. I'm mostly self-taught. I did take a few art classes, but the funny thing was, and this is a funny story too, because like in high school, I didn't take art class right away. It was an elective, like it always is, right? And
Mhm.
then a teacher's assistant in a business course or business class saw me doodling. I was drawing the Ninja Turtles, and
Oh, perfect.
yeah, she was great. Her name was Mrs. Hubbard, and like she was like, "You should go take art class." And I was like, "Nah," because like in my house, like doodling and my parents thought it was kind of a waste of time and stuff, right?
Tough Asian parents.
Yeah, typical, and so it was not encouraging for me to keep going at it, but she insisted, like, no, 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 you have a gift, you should go take art class. And so later on, I think the second half of the year, you could choose your new electives, and I finally bit the bullet and went. And then after that semester, like the teacher saw what I was doing, and he kind of like pulled me aside and said, I know you're not just taking this class because you have to take this class. He saw that like there's a potential in me. And so I didn't do the basic art thing that the rest of the class was doing. He kind of leapfrogged me. He gave me this big thick book about like perspective, anatomy, shading, texture, all this stuff. And he goes, I'm gonna pick a few chapters in this book. I want you to look through it, and emulate the work that's in it. But I don't want you to like trace it or anything. I want you to see. I want to see if you can make these pieces of work your own, and then turn it in like every week or every other day, depending on like how crazy the details were.
Mhm.
And so soon after that, because I literally went through those tabs like over one weekend because I was so like into this book. The book was really awesome.
You
It
still
had
have it?
some. No, I
Okay.
I couldn't take it. It was his book, so
Oh, it was
it
his
was
book. Okay.
yeah.
I
He
thought he
let me
gave it to you.
borrow
Okay.
it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the cool thing was there's a lot of artwork from Da Vinci in it.
Oh,
So yeah, right. And so I was like, I can't pass this up. There's Leonardo da Vinci's work in here. And so I really took to that book like crazy. And then soon after that, I turned him just about like everything else in the book that he marked off already. He goes, all right, well, you let me know what kind of projects you want to work on, and we'll think of something for you to do. And I was like, awesome. And then he goes uh, like if you're taking this course next year and you have another open elective, if you want to be a TA, you could be a TA. And I was like, I
wow.
could do that.
It's
So that was kind of cool too.
also
So
a
that,
compliment.
yeah. And so I was like, okay. But yeah, that really, I guess, really got my feet moving in that direction.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
what so it's funny because we had Lawrence on the previous episode, and
Hmm.
he's a teacher, and he was talking about how he had people in his life that helped him become a teacher and gave him encouragement and stuff, and here you are going the same thing. And I said it on that episode, and I'll say it again. It's there's a huge underestimation for what a mentor or a teacher can do to motivate somebody else and to get them going in the right path or get them going towards their goals and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's been a struggle. Life happens. But I never forgot those words of encouragement, those words of support ever since.
Yeah.
So for them to have my back and really trust in my abilities, I mean, that speaks a lot, especially when they ask you to like help assist in class.
Yeah.
So I was flattered, and I was kind of arrogant too, because I'm not even a senior yet and he's asking me to be a TA. So
Wow.
that
Yeah.
was yeah, that was awesome. I got to say that was an awesome experience. And
And
Mr. Ang, you're an awesome art teacher. I learned a lot from you, and thank you for give me a lot of free reign. And Mrs. Hubbard, I I owe a lot to you, because if you didn't push me to take the class, I wouldn't still be doing this stuff.
Well,
So
we got to put
yeah.
them the special thanks of your comics.
Oh yeah, I know, right? When I finally get my own title run, I'm going to put a little tribute for everybody that's helped me along my way. So
Oh,
yeah, for
wonderful. No,
sure.
that's
You'll be
great.
in it, man. You'll be in it.
I have done nothing but just be a
uh,
fanboy. That's all I've done. I've just been a big old fanboy. So well, okay, so we got the history and your love of drawing and stuff. So how did all this come into becoming part of the Deep Fried universe? How did you get sucked in here?
so it does go back to high school because me and Patricio Janelso, who's of course this is his sandbox we all play in. It's crazy. He knew I drew a lot. He knew that I loved the X-Men, and he's a Marvel guy too. And so he was already like doing all these small film projects as a hobby
In high school?
in high school. Even before then, like he always
These
drew his
ambitious kids
friends.
today. No.
Yeah, he always drew his friends in the neighborhood, and that's how Kid Heroes started out because they were all kids playing
Okay.
heroes.
Yeah.
So that's where he got his production name. But he really liked the work that I was doing even back then, and he always wanted to have me on to do some artwork for him for his films and stuff. So to me though, I felt like I was too much of a ripoff of Jim Lee and Wills and Scott Williams and Mark Silvestri, even some McFarlane, because I just with McFarlane's wild touch on a lot of his work and the detail that he would do, like I try to like combine them all, but I still felt like it wasn't me. So I was like, I kind of turned Pat down a long time ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Like,
so
sorry, I don't have time for you, or I got Image Comics to read or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. I was like, is he serious? Because I'm not. I don't feel like I'm ready. And
I
honestly,
gotta
that's
read Codename Strike Force or whatever.
right. Yeah, Strike Force Moratorium, or
That's my
yeah,
throwback there for anyone that remembers
yeah,
Image.
man. Damn, you went deep on that one, man. I was like, whoa, he knows it. He knows. You are a fan,
I,
die
I
hard,
I definitely was back then, yes sir.
right?
Uh, but so what made you finally he just kept approaching her, or like so you eventually apparently he reeled you in apparently.
Yeah, well, I never stopped drawing. But it wasn't my main profession at the time. I was always doing it on the side. I mean, before they called it a side gig, I was still doing this stuff on the side just to earn a little extra pocket money. And I had a friend that always asked me to do tattoos for him, and he really liked what I did. But while I was doing these drawings for him for his tattoos, I was finding my way, because it takes a while for you to like evolve your own style because you're always going to wind up emulating your idols like I did back in high school.
Mhm.
But the more and more I kept doing these pieces along with other projects, I started to feel more confident in what I was producing because it wasn't like I was drawing Wolverine or Superman or Batman or Spider-Man all the time. I was drawing like crazy stuff. I mean, he was asking me to draw like animals and machines and you know um, different kinds of scenery. So I was like, this is kind of cool because he's like really trusting in my ability to give him something, and he hardly ever asked me to change anything, which means he really liked what I did. So yeah, and then Pat just asked if I was still drawing, out of the blue, and Lumpia was then Lumpia the movie was
Mhm. The
already
first
like
one.
this. Yeah, the very first one was kind of like an a cult indie darling when it finally came out, and he was planning on re-releasing it as like an anniversary celebration film. And he got back in touch with me, asking me if I wanted to um, do an anniversary piece for it, like a poster. And I was like, sure. I was drawing, I was feeling more confident in my ability. I knew what I wanted, he knew what he wanted, and the collaboration worked. And he kept asking me for other projects before he decided, like, I think I'm gonna do a sequel. And then I was like, well, what? It's like, yeah. And then, yeah, man, it just really built up, like, first slowly in the beginning, but it snowballed really fast, you know? So yeah, where we are now, it all came down to like, can you draw me something? So
So, so did he come to you? So, for people that don't know, you are credited as the storyboard artist for Lumpia
mhm,
with a Vengeance.
yes.
So did Pat come up to you and specifically say, "I want you to do my storyboards," or like, how did he want to bring you onto the film?
Yeah, he first he asked if I can storyboard, because I don't think he knew that I did a storyboard or can do storyboards. But I said, yeah, I can do storyboards. And then uh, he gave me the script or the plot, and we fleshed it out through there. I really liked where it was going. And he also asked if I could draw certain people in these costumes that we were visually developing for the movie. So it was crazy, like everything that has fallen into place because of this stuff.
So then you guys had the Kickstarter though, and you were trying to go so you could get funding for the movie.
Hmm.
And this the time that you're waiting for, to get funding and to be able to actually make this, happen. What are you guys
Yeah.
doing? Are you preparing? Are you like doing pre-production, or like are you storyboarding the whole script anyways? And we're like, well, we're just gonna hope this works out, or like, how are you going about this time waiting?
Yeah. So with Pat, like his imagination is always like running so fast, like 1,000 miles a minute, and if he's asking you to do like a character design, he's probably already got something in the can for what he wants next.
Mhm.
So he's already thinking of like, okay, I got that. Now what can I get next? And so while we were doing the rough character designs and the conceptualization of visually what he wanted and what can be done for the film, um, we kept adding more and more pieces to it. So like you said, like with the storyboard, that was one piece. And then at the time, Mark Munoz just recently retired from the UFC. And for anybody that watched the UFC in the early 2000s, he was a big deal. They called him the Filipino wrecking machine. And those are one of the few times I actually watched the UFC, because I don't really watch it that much anymore. But when he asked me like if I knew who Mark Munoz was, I was like, yeah, I know who Mark Munoz is.
He's a Filipino wrecking machine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then Pat asked me if I could draw him in a barong, and I was like, oh, okay.
Why? But sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then he finally like messages me back and says, I'm gonna see if he's interested in playing the hero. And I was like, wow, he's really going for it. And soon after, I drew Mark in the Barung, which is like the first ever, I guess you could say, the first true hero shot of me drawing Mark in a Barung as our hero. uh was like a very pivotal moment, because when they met up and I guess Pat showed him the artwork, Mark was really really excited about it. And when Pat came back to me and he said, Mark said yes, I was like, holy crap, what? What? So this is no longer like a hobby film anymore. We're really shooting for like something greater. And then they start casting, and I'm still developing these other characters for him and stuff. And the next one was Gemini, who's our main villainess in the film. And when I did do it the first time, I drew her like the musician Sia, the pop artist.
The one that doesn't show her face.
Yeah, the one that doesn't show. And so I drew Gemini with the same kind of hair look, where it's half white and half jet black, and then the suit kind of like runs like Harley Quinn or something, like down the middle where it's like split. And
And then Pat sent the concept to Sia. No.
I know, right? Like, oh, we're getting sued. But
He's like, will you come be Gemini? And you're like, really?
right.
You're trying this
Yeah,
again?
I know, right? But Katrina, who does play her, like I'm glad that we evolved the look along with Maribel, who's our costume designer. The way we evolved the look, it like works so well, and I can't say enough on like how Katrina, who we did cast, and like she just knocked it out the roll out of the park, you know.
Did
And
she already have the yo-yo?
huh?
Did she already have the yo-yo?
You know what? That that maybe you could ask Pat
Okay.
because I don't think so. In
Well, I
in
was
the
saying when you drew
beginning,
her, did she have the yo-yo? Probably
no,
not. Okay.
no. In the beginning, she was already like the boss lady, but she didn't have a weapon of her own yet.
Okay.
Because
I
like
always think the yo-yo is an interesting choice. It
it's
works, but
pretty cool.
it's
It
just kind
works.
of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah, and yeah, the way she utilizes, I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty darn cool what she does with the yo-yo. But yeah.
So 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 wait, I have to touch on real quick. So when he
Mhm.
tells you that you got he gets Mark Munoz based on the drawings that you gave him and stuff, part of you's like, oh crap, yeah, we got Mark Munoz from him. Awesome. And then the other part of you thinks about it for 5 seconds and then goes like, wait, Mark Munoz saw my art. Oh damn. What did he
Yeah,
say?
yeah. So the cool thing, okay, we're in production now. This is like soon after we did the
Got the
whole
Kickstarter?
Kickstarter. Yeah,
Okay.
that was an event in itself.
Yeah, that's uh, I love anyone that
It
goes
seems like
gone to the conventions shows the video of you guys of being successful with it. You
yeah,
guys filmed it all, and I mean, I can imagine
yeah,
the enthusiasm you guys all felt knowing like, oh, we can actually make this.
yeah, exactly. You know, and Pat asked me if I had time to play an extra or at least a background extra in one of the scenes because you know they were shooting locally over here in Daly City, and I was like, all right. I mean, oh, I'm down. And then like, yeah, Mark's gonna be there, and I was like, Mark's gonna be there, and I didn't know how big Mark was, you know, because like you see him on TV, it's hard to tell scale, and so I didn't know I was gonna be in the scene with Mark, and that was crazy because like you know, when you see him in person, it's like, holy crap. It's like, oh, he is our hero. Like he's got the right build for it, you know. And when I told him, like, yeah, I'm the one that drew you as our hero, he goes, oh, what's up, man? And he's like the nicest guy, you know. But like when you see him fighting, I was like, oh, he's the toughest guy. But it was a crazy experience, just like being in it, like literally, like, wow, now it's hitting me like this is happening. Mark's there. It's a fight scene, you know. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool, you
Your
know.
drawings are coming to life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It yeah, it blew my mind every step of the way. And then, you
So
know,
as an artist, then because you know there's this movie that has been done based all on your storyboards and stuff, and after I mean, I'm sure you saw production as it was going, and then you saw all
mhm.
the casting happen and stuff, but then what is the feeling that you get when you're seeing edited scenes or when you even saw the final cut and you're basically seeing all your hard work come to life, you know, in a human form?
Right? Yeah, like, oh man. It it first, okay, the funny thing was when I saw the rough cut and Pat already gave me a list of things to work on, right? In order in order to meet this deadline because everything had to be we had a time frame. So once I saw the rough cut, I was like, oh no, I have a lot of work ahead of me. Like, uh-oh.
Did
This
he keep adding scenes or what?
no, no. The scenes that needed more there's like this moment in each scene where some of the work that I did is going to be in it. And so
Oh, okay.
yeah, those scenes were like not image not ready or
Yeah, yeah.
something
When they
like
throw that tile card
yeah,
up.
the little filler, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the placeholder. There
yeah.
we go. So I was like, uh-oh, and then it kept happening. And I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. I got so much work to do. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm part of this. That's when it like hits you even harder.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, my arm is falling off, all the work that I could do is finally submitted. I hope it works. And then you see the first final cut. I would say the first final cut, because I think there was just some audio or music or sound effects that we just needed to clean up
Hmm.
or add. But other than that, the film was pretty much done, right?
Hmm.
And I saw it and I was like, oh, this is gonna work, like, oh my gosh, it actually works. The way they edited, the way it's directed, the way everything kind of like falls into place. I was really impressed in like how it all came together.
I love the I don't know, I could say like the special effect comic book inserts when they fight, like when
Yes.
people throw punches or when he throws the lumpia, there's like they actually turn it into like comic book form and stuff. I really love that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You could tell like that we're fans of the media. We're fans of both action and comedy and martial arts and comic books. It all shows our passions and our inspirations. And it's like our love letter to our childhood, I guess, if you think about it, because everything that we could think of other than robots
Yeah, there's no robots
or
in the film.
yeah, or flying machines. I think like what we could do with what the story that we have, you couldn't put anything else in it,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing, um what our team put together.
So uh the problem is though, you guys do all this hard work, you put the movie together, and then you're trying to do it's like, all right, well now we got to get it out there and we got to get it to theaters, or we got to get the public to see it and stuff, and then COVID
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
And and I'm glad we can laugh about it now. But man,
Yeah.
like, so how was that I'm sure everyone, I could ask everyone this same thing. If I remember correctly, Lawrence talked about it some, but how
Mhm.
was it for you personally? Like, you put all this work into the film and then it's like, we gotta sit on it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I kind of looked at it as an opportunity because knowing AJ Colomai, who's is pretty much like Pat's brother from another mother. Um, the first movie wouldn't have been done without AJ, and I owe AJ a lot of credit for every ounce of crew and time and effort that he and his crew put into both projects, especially Lumpia with a Vengeance. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that actually worked in our advantage because AJ was able to like scrounge up all the people that weren't working because of COVID to try and work on something at home without having to leave the house, which
Mm-hmm.
is great because you're doing post.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to reshoot anything. Everything is done now. It's all about fine tuning everything. And I think it kind of gave the project a little bit of polish and a little bit of tidiness, like how things got put together was even more concise and tighter. So it worked in our advantage, but it also felt like, darn, we missed maybe our windows closing because nobody can go anywhere or do anything. People are dying, people are sick. This is like the least of our worries. But when certain when everybody's knowledge got better about the pandemic and what we're allowed or able to do, it just felt like we were taking full advantage of every little ounce of opportunity we got from it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it actually worked out in the end because I think Hawaii still wanted to do a film festival, and Patricio was familiar with the film festival because of the debut and the first Lumpia film. And I don't know how we got the film in there, but they agreed to air it, and the people loved it, and we got an audience award. And so
Woohoo!
that was like, yeah, that was our
Good
big
first step.
first validation, right? And this is
Yeah.
like, we're not even out of COVID yet, and for us to win an audience award, it we're like, oh my gosh, it just felt like the same thing what happened with getting Mark on board. It was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is happening, you know. And then when the restrictions got lighter, it just kept on happening. People kept liking our stuff, and they weren't like our family or friends. These are casual viewers that wanted to watch something because they wanted to feel good about um, going to the movies or watching something different.
You're like your third cousin coming up. Oh, I love the film. Yeah, of course
Yeah,
you do. And your
yeah,
aunt comes
yeah.
up. Oh, I love the movie joke. Yes,
Yeah,
I know you do.
yeah, yeah. So for people, strangers that you don't know are like are really liking it. You just get buoyed up about like the potential of this. And
Hmm.
so, man, that was like amazing. Just knowing that it did so well the first go around. So
All right. Well, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I was there for the Asian American Pacific Film Festival in LA in October.
yeah,
Yeah, almost a year now, and
right,
I remember I only went because I follow Patrick Ballesteros, and
right.
he did work for your comic,
Yes.
and it was one of those things that it was playing. I believe I had the night off work or something, and also because there was a I was down there watching another short. Actually, there's an actress that I like, and I was watching a short that she had, was in. So I was
Right.
coincidentally down there, and your guys' movie was on the program. I think Patrick tweeted about it or something. I can't remember how I even found out about the screening. And I'm like, all right, I'm here. Why the hell not? Like,
Yeah.
I'll go to this, sure. And like, it was so fun. Like, it was one of those things that I knew nothing about it.
Mm.
I hadn't. I don't even think I had. I think maybe I had bought one comic because Patrick did the cover, but I pretty
Yeah.
much didn't know anything about it. And I just had a great time with
Right.
it. I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun. So
And that's the thing that gets me is like you really didn't know anything about it, right? There was no context, nothing. You probably didn't even know it was a sequel, right?
no,
Like
yeah, I
you
had
like,
no clue. No,
yeah, right. And so when this is what makes it more important for me because like you loved it.
yeah.
It wasn't like somebody we knew and say go watch it. You were like, oh, I'm down here, might as well. I mean, I heard like he did work for it, so yeah,
Yeah.
like almost on a whim, you just decided to watch this thing. And then when you say that you loved it, I mean that's more validation for me because like if you loved it, then there's the potential that not just Filipino Americans or Filipinos, it's anybody, and that's what matters the most, that anybody could watch it and come out feeling like they enjoyed it and maybe even hungry for food.
It is impossible to watch that movie and not be hungry unless you eat right before. And I did
Right.
the mistake. Of course, it was late at night. I remember, and I went and I was so hungry afterwards. And I think I had to go to work. I'm pretty sure I had to go to work afterwards, so I didn't even have time to eat. It was horrible.
Right.
Not the movie to watch on an empty stomach. Nope. I've told so many people that, and I continue to tell people that.
Right. Yeah. And I wish we were marketing our promos with a tray of lumpia all the time. And I think we only did that once, at least as far as I know. We did that once, and that was over here in Fremont at one of our friends that ran Green Machine Comic Books, and we had a tray of lumpia Shanghai during our appearance there, and I think that was the only time
Oh man,
we
it's such an
actually
easy segue too.
combined. Yeah, it was like perfect. Lumpia and the movie and the comic books, it all works, and like we haven't done it since. And I'm like, oh, we're missing all these opportunities, but oh, what can you do?
All right. Well, we'll see in a couple weeks if you guys can remedy that.
I know. Let's hope. I'm hoping that people out there, any lumpia vendors out there, please get in touch with us. You'll enjoy the film. They'll enjoy your food, and it's a win-win.
It's like when people go to concerts and they come out and there's the hot dog vendors with the hot dogs on their little things in LA and
Yeah,
stuff. It's like the same
right.
thing. People are gonna get out of the movie. They're like, all right, where's Olympia? I want it. I want
Yeah,
it.
right. And I think people do walk out of that film like, okay, now where's the nearest like Filipino restaurant that
Yeah.
makes lumpia? Yeah. So it has all that going for it, and yeah, we're sorry it makes people hungry, but it says something about how well we told the story too, because like you know what I mean?
We
Like,
hit our target.
yeah, we hit it right on, bullseye,
All right. Well, perfect to have you on though for this, of course. So we've got two movies, but then you guys decided to take it a step further and you wanted to make comic books.
Yeah.
So tell me how this comes about.
Well, I had a feeling Pat wanted to do something because we actually collaborated on a music video in between projects, and I think that was our first foray as doing something like with video or with motion picture and print. It was so it was a mini comic. It was like a short story, but it was our first collab, first doing artwork for that music video, and then second doing the artwork for the short story. And I had a feeling, because of all the work that we were doing for this film, that we weren't gonna just stop at the film. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be a part of it, because like all the work that I did, I felt like I was like, man, this would be a good time for a break. And then all of a sudden I get a call from Pat like, hey, you want to do the comic? And I was like, oh my god, you're doing the comic? I was like, okay, like maybe I'll contribute, and it just kept going from there. And like I said, like Pat's a great supporter and sounding board for all the artists that really want to get out there into the world, into the industry, me being one of them too. And to have a platform like this with original characters, which is rare, because a lot of the times you want to try to make your mark landing at a publisher that has your favorite heroes, right? But to have your own original heroes to work with, that's something else,
Yeah.
because now you have this unique original universe that you could play with. So it was hard for me to say no,
Yeah.
because like
Oh,
it's
why
like,
would you?
yeah, exactly, because
Yeah.
like I've helped develop these guys visually, me and Patrick Ballesteros, and I would say in some small part also like Christopher Tolentino, and we all contributed to the comic books and stuff. So it's been great. And when people start seeing these comic books, then other Philam artists wanted to
Yeah.
be a part of it too, and so they were doing like special covers or even some of the interiors. And so it was like, wow, it's like we're building our own community with this.
So how do you guys so just to quickly summarize for people, you
Mhm.
guys have a lot of artists and actually writers. I know Pat does the majority of it, but Justin's done so many, he gets different writers on too. And you
Yeah,
guys break up a lot of the art by like 5 pages, 10 pages, whatever.
right,
Is that
right.
something you guys get together, or like or Pat just like hands out assignments and throws it? It's like, all right, you're doing pages 10 through 14, and or you're doing 16 through 19, or how does that work?
Yeah. So yeah, people get assigned the writer. Usually I'm working with Pat. um, but yeah, it's been a great collaboration. Like a lot of our other team members, because like, we're a team.
Yeah.
Like Jeffrey Fulgencio, who's out of the East Bay. He's teamed up a few times, with one with Pat, and I think another with. I don't want to mislead anybody. I think it's either Earl or Justin, who are also the screenwriters or assistant screenwriters to the film. So people do pair off and create the stories into the comic books. So, and then of course, like, you're going off either an outline or a plot or a script. With Pat, it's a script and
Mhm.
stuff, and so he'll even give you like the panel count and see if you can work with it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's one of the things I think that's a lot of fun about it is you look at you'll open the interior of the first page and it'll just be like credit, 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 credit. It's not like, four guys. It's like you'll have half a page just
Yeah,
of
it's a
credits.
it's a roster, man.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
yeah,
fun. It's cool to
it's
see all the
fun.
different styles and everything. I like it.
It's true. Yeah, like it's kind of cool to like see all these names, and then the crazy thing too is like you don't know if you're ever going to meet these people, because we're doing everything, this like modern digital world. You don't have to physically see people, but the crazy thing about soon after COVID was people really wanted to visually, physically reconnect, right?
Hmm.
And so, of course, there was Comic Con special edition in November. That was like the first real dry run at all this, and one of our biggest, I would say, our biggest moments ever for our project, because at that time none of the big studios were there yet. It was mainly almost like an old school convention, where it was mainly small press and vendors. Of course, the cosplayers were there, but like it felt like a throwback, like it was in the 90s or early 80s. And we really rocked it. I think like everything that could go right for our project went right for our project, let alone we got to meet a lot of the people that contributed, which was great, because either you were on Zoom, or you just heard by word of mouth from Pat or from Lawrence or anybody else on the crew, like, oh yeah, he did this, or yeah, he did that cover, or yeah, he did those pages, but you never saw them.
Yeah.
And then when these conventions started happening again, like, hey, you get to finally like bump, fist bump, or even
Yeah.
like half hug or whatever, but you get to physically talk to them about the whole thing, or the whole project, and the camaraderie. It just, I think it really was it factors a lot when you get to see people like face to face instead of just across the screen.
Plus, that special edition was like, like you're saying, it was not only the first for you guys, but it was the first going back for, the general public or the Comic-Con goers and stuff. And even though it
Yeah.
wasn't full out and it was a very like, half the size of regular Comic-Con, but still it was
Right.
what people were so hungry just to do anything at that point. They just wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So for the fact of like the fact you guys stuffed that room, and like there was even people that didn't get in, it was like over
Yeah.
full and everything, and like so it
Yeah.
was really great that you guys got to have such a warm reception.
Yeah. And like you said, like that, we had that panel with the screening, and we were advertising it all through that day, like, come see us, we'll be at hall, I can't remember, it could be 19, but I don't want to
Well, the funny
say.
part is like the thing I'll never understand is like they had the entire damn convention and they gave you guys like this small room, like,
Yeah,
bro, like
exactly.
you
Yeah.
all the other rooms are empty.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like they were showing like another Marvel or DC film, because there
Yeah.
was nothing. There was
Yeah. But
it was just mainly us and maybe some other people showing other films, but not major productions. And everybody was hungry to watch something original, let alone feature length,
yeah.
right? And so for them to give us the small room, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
we're in trouble. And to see that crowd, it looked like a blockbuster movie would look like in a cinema,
Yeah.
because so many people lined up to just watch it. And unfortunately, fire safety reasons, we couldn't.
Yeah.
So we turned more than half that group away.
Yeah.
But it felt like more validation that people were hungry. I wouldn't say literally, but hungry for our film. And
Yeah.
so that was like wow, like a wake up call, like, oh my gosh, like the interest is there, like we do have the audience. And then when the panel happened and the reception we got from the fans before the film rolled, it was, oh man, it was like one of the greatest moments we've had. And afterwards, when the movie was done, the applause that we got, for comic fans,
Yeah.
for action hero fans, it was like more validation for us to see such a positive response,
Yeah.
and man, we kept talking about that like ever since, like after we left the convention center that night, we of course we went to Gaslamp to like,
Have
because
fun.
we were hungry.
Yeah.
And so we were just like having our moment, and we were like, wow, that just happened. So yeah, we are like, wow, this is such a great moment.
And
This is,
The
Yeah.
still and the I don't know, silly is probably not the right word, but I've noticed that ever since then, and I still have mine, and some of my friends that went still do too. You guys have never done the little lumpia stick thing since. That was the only time.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanted that to happen at the official return of Comic Con and WonderCon, and I was like, I thought we had more, like I guess we ran out of like making them or something, but like it's almost like we gave all our stock that one weekend, and
Yeah.
then so it's maybe it's a collector's item, so make sure you don't damage it or throw it away because it might be worth something later if you get
Well,
everybody to autograph
well,
it,
yeah. If
you
you remember,
know.
mine's all I stole the idea from my friend Albert. I have to admit. But like, yeah, I've gotten everyone to sign it, and then I even took it back for San Diego in 2022 though, because I had wanted to get
Yeah.
Mark on it. So Mark even signed it too. So now I even got Kuya's on it too. So
Yes.
yeah, so now I've got the art team and the actors. I mean, there's
Yeah.
more actors than I'll ever be able to probably get on it, but I've got like the core group on it at least. So yeah. But I bring it
Exactly.
up because if people go to the Lumpia Facebook page or the Instagram, that's one of the things that they can find is the video of everyone shaking the sticks with the Lumpia 2 symbol up and stuff. And it's a really cool sight to have, a couple hundred people sitting there waving that in the whole room. I thought it was really cool.
We're back,
First edit point. No.
right?
It's okay. All right. No, it's funny because I mean the good thing is at least I finished my thought, so I think we should be okay.
Right. And I
Okay.
wanted to add to that because
Okay, well, wait. Okay, well, I'll shut up and just wait like 2 seconds and then start.
yeah, okay. Yeah, and I wanted to add to that moment when we had those paddles with the fist and the two Lumpia in there, right? And I was such a nervous wreck. I honestly because like Comic Con for me was like a homecoming return because it's been so long since I've been to, let alone Comic Con, but any con. I was so busy with everything that life was throwing at me that I stopped going.
Yeah,
And so when we did Lumpia and people are asking if we could be at these conventions and stuff, there was no way I was going to pass it up, right? But when I saw the group, when I saw the fans, when we sat at the panel, my heart was racing, man. I I thought I was gonna hurl because
oh boy.
I was so literally choked up with the outpouring of anticipation, um, uh, just the overwhelming sense that people are really looking forward to this, and they're gonna want to know what I have to say. Honestly, I had no idea what I was gonna say every time I opened my mouth,
Yeah,
and I was just glad that it was clear, like what I said.
yeah.
But like the one cool thing, and I think that's why they caught that video when they waved it, was that I asked if everybody could, wave those paddles up in the air, and that was like, oh, it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because
You're like my people.
yeah, yeah. That's why I said something like it was like this is the meatiest uh, golden wave of
Yeah,
thing I've ever seen, and like, and I just said thank you guys, thank you everybody for being here and enjoy the film, and it was just awesome just to see everybody do it because I just said like, can everybody, as a favor, like wave them in the air, and when everybody did it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great moment, and we never copied it ever
yeah.
since. Yeah, I
Well,
was like, ah.
thank goodness for recording. So
Yeah, right. Thank
thank God
thank
someone
goodness for
captured it.
everybody with camera phones and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
So I want to get back to the comic though real quick. So you guys did 3 issues, and they're
Yes.
basically like you could say interludes from the movie. It's kind of like
Yes.
because every time you when you read the comic it'll say please watch Lupia with a Vengeance to continue, or
Yeah,
now back
yeah,
to Lupia with a Vengeance and stuff. So it's
yeah.
nice little like bonus footage in between each single scene and stuff. It's really cool. But
Yeah.
what I want to talk about is, so I'm going to try to get this up here.
Sure.
So then you guys went on to do
Oh,
this.
woohoo!
So
Yeah.
so then you gave Gemini her own book, microphone. So you gave Gemini her own book, and then now you have this Lumpia Squad one too. Talk
Yeah.
a little bit about these.
Wow. Well, Pat, like I said, like he's always got like something else cooking, right? And so when these 3 issues for the supplemental reading for the
Yeah.
film were practically in the can and done, he didn't want to stop there because everybody wanted to add on to this world, this universe, and he's like, would you be willing to do more? And I was like, oh, okay, and
No one can say no to Pat Hyde. That's just what it is. No,
it
the man
seems
doesn't know
like,
what no is.
yeah, like I think it's the way he delivers his questions too. It's like that excitement, that the way he delivers his requests. It's like, God, he seems so like passionate about it. How can I say no to this?
Yeah.
And so um I was like, okay. And and since, like I said, I've helped develop these visually, and why not see what we could do with them.
Yeah.
So Gemini was a fun one because I wanted to do a lot of the penciling and inking because those were my strengths, but I didn't want to one, burn myself out, because like doing pencil and inking is already hard, and I did it analog. I did not do it digital. So the only thing I did digital was scan them in and send them out. um and Jeffrey Fulgencio, who's a great illustrator and of course a good artist in his own right, I had a feeling like Jeffrey could add something, because I trusted in his skill set to like contribute to this. And when I was done with my half of the book for Gemini, and I was pleased with what I did line work wise, but I knew like I think somebody could add something to it color wise, and I wasn't even able to see what Jeffrey was doing until the books were printed.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I didn't get any samples or anything. I think we're already tight on time because um time is never on our side when we have all these events lined up, and yet we're trying to garner an audience and interest for the movie. And so, man, I think the first time I saw what he did was like at this other event in the Bay Area, and I was like, "Oh, it's out." It's like, I gotta look. And so I peeled the first page open because it's an action splash page.
Yeah.
And once I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we're in good hands. Jeffrey did such a great job. He enhanced the artwork that was already there with his coloring, and I couldn't speak more about his contribution to my half of the book. I mean, dude, Jeffrey, you rock, man. So thank you, Jeffrey Fulgencio, for making my line work pop even more. So that was so cool.
Well done, Jeffrey.
Yeah, well done. And then of course, let's segue to Lumpia Squad.
Yeah.
And Patrick Ballesteros, I think, was the first one to draw the main bad guy in it. And it's an ube monster. Right? And
which there's a variant cover too, of course.
And I think Patricio kind of freaked out because I think he thought of it in practical terms, like how can we make the suit or whatever, like he was thinking like how can we make this in
he wants
like
to make
real
it
life?
literal, huh?
Yeah. And I think, of course, Patrick being Patrick, like he was like, we could create anything on paper. Anything goes on paper. And he's like, like what can we make into a crazy monster? And of course, Patrick came out with an ube monster. And so I guess we kind of like got Patrick Michael Strange to help contribute with the writing for this. And it went from there. But I was like, how are we gonna make this monster impactful? Like, what are we gonna do? And then when I read the script, I was like, oh, okay. Okay, that's what we're doing with the ube monster. All right, okay, it kind of makes sense now. And so there's a little, like I said, when you look at these stories, especially that one, because it's way out of bounds, it's way out of left field, because that one is the one that stretches furthest away from reality because now we're dealing with monsters and stuff, and
Mhm.
it's more sci-fi, so it feels
Still
like a
not any
comic.
robots though. Got to work on
Yeah, I
that.
know. I'm waiting for that moment, and I want to draw a mech or something. The closest I get is like when we do the devices for our crew, and I've done a little bit of things for Earl, who's playing G Dog in our stories, but it's subtle. It's not like major, like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
what is he carrying? No, it's like these fancy like James Bond shades, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
But at least we got to do this monster, and um if anybody is a fan of Ghostbusters, especially the original movie, I think they're gonna like how we told the story in Lumpia Squad. So
All right. Good
yeah,
pitch. Good
yeah,
pitch. Good pitch.
yeah, yeah.
So
Thank you, thank you.
I already asked Diego, and I didn't twist his arm too hard, but he he kind of gave me a half an answer. Are you able to give any drop any news of you guys have any other books coming out?
I have other projects. I could only speak on my side.
Okay.
I do have other projects lined up outside of the Lumpia verse. If you were at Comic Con though, you knew what's gonna come in store in the future for this deep fried universe. So
Oh, okay.
um
I think I know which one you mean. Yeah.
yeah, so that I know I can share because anybody that's followed us on social media knows now that it is going to be a trilogy, and so we're chomping at the bit to see what the writers and Patricio have in store for us. But I know that what we've done with Lumpia with a Vengeance, if the reception is as good as we hope it is, I think the possibilities of what we're capable of doing for the third one, man, it's going to be exciting. I think it'll avoid that trilogy downturn like every other trilogy out there.
Hey, I
We-
love Return of the Jedi. Stop hating.
you know um so I think we might be able to avoid it if I believe like what the writers are capable of doing.
Yeah.
Then I think it'll be freaking awesome if we can shoot for the moon and get close. Then man, it's going to be some crazy ride.
Yeah.
um and I'm looking forward to what the deep fry universe is having in store for that. um but for me, I'm already working on projects involving cars because when I was growing up, other than comic books and anime and manga, it was cars that drew my attention also. And it
Like
was,
Transformers? No.
yeah, actually, that's the coolest thing because I would say this, um, it combined my favorite things ever.
And we're back from our commercial break. Gerald, as you were saying.
Yeah, I could only speak for what I'm in the progress of doing. So all I can say right now is like it's car related. And I'm excited about it. Like I said before, when you brought up Transformers, it was like the trifecta for me. It was robots, anime, and cars. And now I get to fulfill that part of my interest because I've always wanted to draw more vehicles, let alone like I'm a big car enthusiast. I might not be a true gearhead because I don't wrench, but whoa, I'm shaking here. It's an earthquake. Here we
You are
Sorry,
up north there.
I bumped my desk there. But I've always loved drawing cars just as much as I've loved drawing heroes and monsters and stuff. So it's really close to my heart. So I'm excited for what I'm going to show hopefully really soon. So
Okay.
stay tuned. It'll be out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the last question I did have, which we were so close, but here we go. Uh, the one I want to end on though is, so with this now about a full year,
Yes.
of doing film festivals, conventions, screenings, all this stuff together, meeting people, seeing people's reactions to the film and feedback and everything.
Yeah.
What have you taken from this, or how has it made you feel, all this outpouring of responses?
Man, it means the world because, when you're in this industry, when you're in this kind of profession, it is all about your feedback from your fans. Um, you wouldn't keep doing this. You wouldn't exist without the support from the fan base that you've created, or the relationships with the fans that you've kept, and with what I've experienced so far with Lumpia with a Vengeance, along with all our other, crew members, cast members, the whole family that we've become, is that the fans have really taken to what we've put together, and without the outpouring of support, we wouldn't be able to do this nationwide release. And the crazy thing is, it's still grassroots. We don't have um, the kind of studio support to distribute it, and we're still getting a lot of momentum because of the fans, and that just goes to show that the way uh, media is now. Um, I think you got to start paying more attention to what fans really want, or what the expectations are, because it goes to show that there is room, there is an opportunity for these kinds of films, let alone like films featuring people of Asian or Pacific Island descent. It's to have that kind of inclusion, let alone to tell stories in our own way, and for people to gravitate to them, and really enjoy what we give. um it just speaks volumes of what is around the corner, if not what is about to happen, sooner rather than, I think, later, especially now. I think the whole thing about you know uh the Stop Asian Hate movement, and you could talk about all that stuff, but to know that the support from everyone, not just the Phil Am community or the Filipino community, but from everyone. I've heard such positive feedback um, everywhere, and it's so humbling. It's amazing. Um, it keeps me going. It keeps us going, and I'm excited for what we can do and what we can make and show next.
Excellent. Well said. And I hope they look forward to it all. Two things. One, drop your plea for encouragement for people to go see the film, and then let everyone know your social media contacts as well.
Yes, please. Our lumpiamovie.com is where you can find all our information. We are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, Facebook. Lumpia with a Vengeance, the title of the film. It's the movie, it's the action comedy that you're hungry for. And for me, Gerald Pilare, you can find me on Instagram at g.pilare.art. You could also find me on Facebook at gpilare slash, or dash, I should say, art. That's my Facebook page. And then I do have a website that I'm still working on, but if anyone's interested now, it's up and running. But trust me, I will start flooding that thing with content soon, and that's at Gerald Pilare, or just Gerald Pilare. So
With robots.
yeah, I know, right? Robots, cars, and everything in between. So GeraldPilare.com.
And when's the movie come
And
out?
premiere night, West Coast. It'll be September 30th. So Friday, be there. I've heard a lot of the prime time slots are selling out, so reserve your tickets as soon as possible.
And then it still continues for it's still playing into October though too, is right?
Yep. from September 30th throughout the whole month of October. It'll be premiering nationwide. So please keep track of where we're at. There's like a new theater every week almost, and we're adding more. So it shows that the audience is there to enjoy our film.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, I am so happy to see you guys, finally get this. And yeah, I'm very happy to see all your hard work and everything you guys have been striving for this last year with all the, screenings and conventions and everything. And you guys playing with the hashtag, put Lumpia on the big screen and everything. So I wish you tons of success with not only the film, but with the comic and everything that you personally are doing in the future. So I look forward to seeing it all, and I wish the best for you. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for coming on this late hour and hanging out with me and hanging out with the Geekdom.
Yes, man, it's been an honor. It's been fun. It's been an exciting ride tonight.
Oh my God.
Uh,
We're going to be able to talk about this for a while.
and honestly, hey, if there's anything new that I can be on for the next one, I will let you know, and hopefully you guys will be interested in what I got next. So
okay. I'm gonna look forward to it. So what have you been doing on over there?
oh man,
Is
it's
it
gonna be
ready for show or no?
so it's a blue line right now, but I just started putting this. So let's see if we could. I don't know where my camera is. Where is it? There's a fifth somewhere there. So that's a
Oh,
little hint.
nice.
Yeah, but this is gonna be for you guys at Geekdom. So um, it'll be sent out for you guys. This is my little tribute for having us on, for supporting us, and just for being fans of this media, uh, for fans. This is just awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Well, we're glad to be fanboys here and fangirls and all alike. We're also but all right, well, that is it for us though. You can find us on the Tweety Bird and the Instagram at Geekdom Fancast, and all podcast platforms. Just search for Geekdom Fancast. And now we have a YouTube page, and that's hopefully maybe where you're watching this. So I don't know if we need to draw. I guess if you're listening to the audio, search Geekdom Fancast for YouTube. I'm not used to promoting this. I'm so sorry, people. This is so new for me. But until next time, we'll be saving a seat for you in the back with Kuya and defending crime all the utmost. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night, you guys.